In 1999, the United States government faced an unprecedented threat. It wasn't a foreign army or a terrorist cell. It was a 15-year-old boy in a Miami bedroom, armed with a computer that today wouldn't have the power to run a basic app. His name was Jonathan James. Online, he was c0mrade. In just a few nights, he bypassed the Pentagon's firewall and stole $1.7 million worth of NASA software. He didn't just hack a server, he forced the International Space Station to shut down completely. Welcome to the Code Noir. Today, the tragic genius of the first juvenile hacker sent to federal prison. To understand Jonathan's impact, you have to understand 1999. The world was paralyzed by the Y2K bug fear. And the internet was a lawless frontier. Security was an afterthought. Jonathan didn't need a supercomputer. He used a 56K dial-up connection. He spent months studying the backdoors of the Unix operating system, vulnerabilities that the government's best engineers hadn't even documented yet. He wasn't just a hacker, he was an explorer of a digital world that the authorities didn't even realize existed. For Jonathan, code wasn't just data, it was an architecture. While his peers were playing video games, he was mapping the vulnerabilities of the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. He discovered a backdoor, a silent entry point that allowed him to intercept over 3,000 internal messages and government credentials. He was a ghost in the machine, moving through the world's most secure networks without leaving a single footprint. How did a 15-year-old stay hidden within the Pentagon's own networks? He used a technique called IP spoofing and installed a custom-made sniffer program. This piece of code sat silently on the Defense Threat Reduction Agency servers, capturing every single username and password used by military personnel. He wasn't just looking at files. He was reading their emails, their private memos, and their security protocols. When he finally reached NASA, he bypassed the perimeter by exploiting a simple, unpatched vulnerability in a remote server in Alabama. It was a masterclass in social and digital engineering that left the FBI baffled for months. His crown jewel was NASA. James infiltrated the Marshall Space Flight Center and stole the source code for the International Space Station's environmental control system. He literally held the life support of astronauts in orbit in his hands. The panic was absolute. NASA was forced to shut down its entire network for 21 days, costing millions and shaking the foundations of national security. The government realized that their greatest fortress had been conquered by a child. The moment NASA realized Jonathan had the source code for the ISS life support system, the atmosphere in the Marshall Space Flight Center turned to ice. This wasn't just a data breach, it was a potential hostage situation in orbit. They didn't know if he would change the oxygen levels or shut down the heating systems. The decision to shut down the entire network, grounding the ISS's digital brain, was the most expensive security measure in the agency's history. For 21 days, NASA was blind, all because of a kid who just wanted to see if he could do it. The FBI eventually closed in. Jonathan became the first minor sentenced for cyber espionage. But the story has a dark twist. Years later, a false accusation in a massive retail hack pushed him to the edge. In May 2008, Jonathan James left a final note. He wrote, I have no faith in the justice system. He took his own life at 24. Jonathan proved that the strongest locks in the world are made of digital glass. But in the end, the system he broke was the same system that broke him. The case of Jonathan James opened a Pandora's box. Was he a digital pioneer showing us our own weaknesses? Or was he a dangerous criminal who played with human lives? The justice system chose the latter, deciding to make an example out of him to scare a new generation of hackers. But in doing so, they created a martyr. His death in 2008 remains a dark stain on the history of cyber justice, sparking a debate that still rages today. In the digital age, where does curiosity end and crime begin? Subscribe to the Code Noir. The next investigation is already downloading.